All right, we are live on Facebook with Lisa Sharpe of Stylish Sparrow. Happy Friday, everyone.
Woot, Friday,
Lisa. Oh, so glad that y'all are with us live and on the replay. Lisa, so glad to be spending this Friday happy hour together. One of my favorites.
Happy hour with you.
I know. And as y'all join in on our live, I'm going to take a minute while Lisa chats with you and share this to my Seeds page. So go ahead, Lisa.
So what have you guys been up to this Friday? Anybody who's out there watching and listening, do you have your kids from school yet? You're thinking about what you're going to do for dinner. You're thinking about what you want to have to transition you from your work day to your home life this evening. I know I enjoyed having a special lunch out after I met with a client, and it was really fun to, instead of just going home and rummaging around in the refrigerator and pulling together a sandwich, I decided to have a
treat yourself.
I did, and I went to Chewy's for the first time up in Westminster since I'm from Texas, and it's the only place I know to get Tex-Mex in Denver, and that was close to where I was, so that was a fun treat.
Awesome.
And then I'm looking forward to being with friends tonight and going to a little Tenebrae service, which I've never been to.
Awesome.
Going to lead me into the Easter weekend.
Okay, so as Lisa shares to her pages, I'm going to check in with you guys. Post below. Tell us, do you celebrate Easter? If so, what are you looking forward to this Easter weekend? I know some people celebrate Orthodox Easter, which is in a week. What are you up to, Easter or otherwise, this weekend that you're looking forward to? And here in Denver, it's like a beautiful 75-degree Friday afternoon. The flowers are popping. The bulbs are coming up, and looks like we might have a rainy, cozy Easter weekend around here. So do share what you guys are up to. And as Lisa shares these links to her page, I want to invite you guys to join in and hunker down for about 30 minutes with Lisa and I. This, for those of you who are brand new to us, this is the Seeds Storyteller Series. And this is my opportunity to share people I love with y'all. And these folks I call everyday change makers. There are people that are in the arts, in business, in the public sector, in the private sector, homemakers, parents, doctors, nonprofit leaders. They're all doing all kinds of things in the diverse, beautiful, prismatic ways that we get to show up and make a difference in the world. And we have these conversations because I profoundly believe that we find our way together as we hear the stories of one another, the whats, the whys, the whos of each other. And Lisa is one of my great inspirations when it comes to all of those things. So in a moment, we're going to talk about her blending of her love of social justice, of social work, of human trafficking, of caring for her family with her social enterprise called Stylish Sparrow. And as you listen, we invite you to lean in. This is not a spectator sport. This is a lean in conversation. Look for ways, yeah, right? Look for ways that you are intrigued, that you disagree, that you are excited, that you get goosebumps. And we call that the treasure hunt of life. And Lisa is part of my treasure hunt of life. So thank you.
It's good to be on this treasure hunt with you, sister.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to, as we often do, I would almost say always, but I'll say often, start our conversation with what we call a pop or a place of pause, which is honoring the reality that we are all likely coming from a tumult of activities, maybe in traffic, maybe not quite leaving work. So wherever you find yourself, this is just a little seed of peace, of breath, of pause in the action. And Lisa and I are going to do this together. I'm going to read a short meditation from one of my books called Live Ablaze, and Lisa's going to take it from there and take us through a short meditation. If this is brand new to you, it's only going to last a minute. Just dive in and enjoy. If this is like something you're looking forward to, buckle up and get ready. So if you are not driving, if you're in a seat, just kind of hunker down and kind of move your muscles and close your eyes if you're able, and be still. Surrender. If you are in pain, pause. If you're heartbroken, pause. Whether you feel a flicker of hope or just worn out, pause. Take some deep, full, big breaths and breathe in hope. Breathe in love. Breathe in peace. And take a beat just to be. And Lisa.
Thank you for that, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
I took all of that in and enjoyed it myself.
Cool.
And so for those of you joining us, I want you to do the same in case any of you have just joined the call. If you're in a position to root your feet on the ground and root yourself where you're sitting or laying down, and close your eyes. And I want you to tune in to how it was for you this morning when you walked in your closet to get dressed, because that's the way most of us start our day at some point in the morning. You have to get dressed. When you opened the doors of your closet, how did you feel? What was it like? Did you feel inspired? Did you feel bored? Did you feel frustrated? Is it overwhelming? Find the words that resonate with your experience this morning getting dressed. And now, think about what you're wearing on your body right now, the clothes you have on. Feel them against your skin. And I want you to ask yourself 3 questions. Who made these clothes, these shoes, this jewelry, these glasses? Where was it made in this world? What country was it made in? And the 3rd question is, how was it made? What was the process like? Was there care and consideration given to the craftsmen, the artisans, the factory workers churning out the clothing? Do they earn a fair living wage? What is their quality of life? And how does it impact the planet and the earth through the fabrications, the dyes, the materials, all of that go into making these things that we wear on our body every day? Let's take one more breath. Come back to where we are right now in this moment, in this video together, and continue the conversation.
Thanks, Lisa. All right, y'all. For those of you just joining, you have landed in the Seeds Storyteller Series with one of my soul sisters for life, Lisa Sharpe, founder of Stylish Sparrow. And this is a conversation that we have talking about why we're doing what we're doing and who it is that we're looking to serve and love and impact and why it matters. And we're shining a light, so to speak, on Lisa's work with Stylish Sparrow and how that serves many of us, including me, and many people in the world, and how she does that. And as she talks, our invitation is to find your story and hers. Find the connections. Please, we aren't going to be replying during the live to your comments, but please drop them in. We will go back after and we'll have so much fun going through. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? What do you want to talk more about? What do you want to hear more from Lisa about? And we'll continue the ripples of conversation there. So like, comment, share, emoji away, and we'll get back to all that after the live. So, Lisa Sharpe, we are going to start with the why of Lisa, the why of Stylish Sparrow, and how did you blend these many passions, many loves, many interests, many places of heartbreak in your life to the work that you're doing now? Can you share with us a little bit about that?
Yes, I would love to. Well, I want to start by saying that it wasn't a planned path of how to interweave these two things together. It was definitely a meandering journey and discovery along the way. I studied social work in college and loved that and worked in that career for 18 years. And there came a point where I could no longer do that sort of work. It was very heavy.
Yeah.
It became heart-wrenching, and I loved it for 18 years. And then all of a sudden, I just couldn't do it anymore. And that's another story, the why of why I couldn't continue that career. So I had to ask myself, what else can I do? What are my other gifts, talents? What am I interested in? And I thought about what had kind of lit me up in other times in my life. And it has always been fashion and clothing. And it started from a very young age, playing with Barbies and having fashion shows with the Barbies. And then I remember being in junior high and saving up my allowance because I wanted something fancy that was out of the budget. You know, my mom could see that this was going to be a problem. So she had me on a clothing allowance starting in somewhere in middle school, in junior high is what we called it then. And so I took a job, and I always had a job starting at age 13 because I wanted my own money so that I could enjoy the things I wanted to enjoy in the realm of clothing. So it's always been a love of mine and a bit of a guilty pleasure at times in my life. And I have struggled with overindulgence at times in my life. And so when social work was over for me, I started thinking about what I could offer, particularly women. I just work with women in this area of their lives because it's something that I have people say to me over my life, oh, could you take me shopping? Or, oh, would you help me with my closet? And so I had done this sort of thing informally for friends over the years. And so I thought I would give it a shot as a career and a business. And as that started, it was 2014 when I opened the doors of my resale clothing store, Stylish Sparrow, in my house, in my basement. And I also was offering my consultation services to women in their home to work in their closet and help them figure out what's working for them in the realm of clothing and what's not working for them in the realm of clothing. So I was interweaving those two things together as much as I could and kind of going back and forth between those two aspects of my job and career and business and offerings. And somewhere around the middle of that, it must have been about 2015, Sarah introduced me to some people from Nepal who are very special, and Raju and Hannah and Sangeeta and Ruth and Pabrita, and eventually Samita came to Denver. And if you guys don't know about these stories already from Seeds of Exchange and Sarah, Raju has a safe house in Nepal for mostly women and girls, but I think there are boys there too, Sarah, are there not? So anyone who has survived human trafficking of some sort, sexual violence and things like that, can come to Lighthouse and live there and be safe and be taken care of and be educated. And they are survivors, and they're learning to thrive after what they've been through. And meeting them in person enabled me to engage with the topic of human trafficking. It's something I could never engage with before. It was too painful and frankly traumatic to be able to really read about it and hear the stories. And so I couldn't, and I didn't until I met these fantastic people through Sarah. So they came to my shop. We spent the afternoon together. We got to know each other. I found out what lights them up and what dreams they're pursuing in the world. And all of a sudden, I was transformed in that afternoon and able to engage with the topic and the people, more importantly, the people that have experienced trafficking. And as a result of that, I started to think about, how can I weave this together? What I'm doing, what's happening over there. So I decided that 10% of my profits would go towards anti-trafficking efforts and the restoration of people who have been through trafficking, as a way to support that, instead of, trying to work in that realm full time, because I realized that I was not able to, for a lot of reasons. So as I do what I love, I'm providing what I can for people who have a need, in a way that I want to be involved with them and link arms and lift them up and get through this journey called life together, in a way that really is sustainable for me as a person, emotionally, and in all those sorts of ways. Instead of making it a choice of, either I can work in that realm as a social worker fighting against human trafficking, or in healthcare and those other realms where I have worked, or I can be fluffy and fun and work in fashion and just surround myself with pretty things and tune in what else is happening in the world. Because I think there was a time in my life where I felt like I had to choose between the two.
Yeah.
And as I've grown older, I've realized I don't have to choose between.
Yeah.
I can find a way to marry them and weave them together. And there's some other ways that I'm looking at doing that in my business now that I can talk about later, in addition to what I just described to you.
And what I love about that, Lisa, because we've had many conversations over tea and glasses of wine and meals together about that, I really think is so important for those that are watching and have this same sensation in their lives, like the quandaries almost of like two things in their lives. So for you, social justice and fashion, or beauty and clothing, like that almost at some points seemed like, how can they ever be bridged? How can they ever come together? And that feeling of shame and not enoughness, like if I go here, it's not enough. If I go here, it's not enough. But what I have seen you do, and what I believe is the calling for all of us, is to just take steps. Sometimes we don't know a step to take, and then I think it's about being still and waiting and trusting the step's going to come. But I have seen you over and over, when the next step appears, you take it. And as you've gone, I've seen this bridge be formed in your life and in your work. And it's unlike any bridge I have ever seen in my life, which is why it's so beautiful, and why I think the hope for all of us is, I think when we trust, when we have the courage to wait for the next step to appear, then sometimes what gets built in our lives is indeed unlike anything that has ever been done before, which takes a lot of courage and waiting and trust and all the things that can be hard. But the bridge of Stylish Sparrow and Lisa Sharpe is spectacular. I love sharing you. And by the way, I didn't even realize, but I'm wearing a Stylish Sparrow tunic top today.
And earrings.
And earrings that came to mind during your meditation, and only then. So thank you for that. So actually, I want to make sure that those of you that just joined know that I'm talking with Lisa Sharpe, founder of Stylish Sparrow. My name is Sarah Davison-Tracy, founder of Seeds of Exchange. And we're having a conversation in what we call the Seeds Storyteller Series. And in the write-up, there you can go down the vortex of Lisa Sharpe and Stylish Sparrow, of links and all kinds of cool ways that she has been thinking, that she might be able to be a catalyst for y'all and your own lives, to engage with her, to make a difference in the world. And so please check out those links and have a lot of fun with them. We're going to mention two of them at the very end, but make sure you go into the write-up, because there's a feast there. Lisa, I want to talk about one thing that I just think is one of your clarion calls that I just love, where you talk about how finding freedom in your own closet sets people free across the globe. Can you explain how that looks and what that means, and how freedom in my closet really can impact someone across the globe?
Yes, I would love to.
Okay.
And I think it's important to start in our own closets in this topic.
Yeah.
like we did in the meditation, the place of pause, the pop in the beginning of this conversation today, it all starts in our own closet, whatever it is in the realm of clothing, whether it's finding freedom for ourselves or setting people free across the globe or discovering your own personal style. It's not out there somewhere in a store or to be found. It's within yourself and it's within your own closet. So that's my favorite place to start my work with people. And it's the most important place to start working with people. And in our closet, as Americans, we're only wearing a very small percentage of the total amount of clothing that we own. Statistically, it's around 20% as an average across the United States.
Wow.
So why do we own so many things if we're not able to really wear and enjoy them and use them? Why do we buy them? In addition, the fashion industry has changed over the last 15 years. Fast fashion has become the norm. And what fast fashion means is that clothing is churned out quickly, cheaply, so that we can buy more and more and more of it. And it's kind of becomes disposable in our life, almost like tissues, that we can kind of move through them very quickly and wear them a handful of times and then move on to the next thing. Clothing is not crafted and made the same that it used to be. The material's not the same. The sewing process is not the same. And so they don't last as long. They're not made to last. Fast fashion is not made to last over time. So fast fashion occurs in places, I don't want to trash any brands or anything like that or any particular stores right now. I think it's really about just thinking about price points and things that are very, very cheap. And I want you to think about what the countries are that they're made in when I'm talking about fast fashion. And I want you to think about how we consume it and use it in our lives. That's fast fashion. The opposite would obviously be slow fashion, which is being thoughtful about what we purchase, taking our time to think about it, not taking an impulse moment to bring something home. It could look like that. That's one example of slow fashion. Another example is making use of things that already exist, like thrift stores and consignment shops, things that someone has already enjoyed and they're ready to pass on and release it to someone else. And we can scoop it up and find new joy in it for ourselves. That's another way to enjoy slow fashion. Another way is to buy very high quality, very well made clothing that we love, that we can imagine ourselves wearing it maybe 30 times. Not that we're going to keep count of that by any means, obviously.
Right.
Or we can imagine that when we get home, we can think of at least 3 things we could wear it with. We can think of places we can wear it to in our lives. That's another example of slow fashion and how to stop consuming fast fashion.
Very cool. Thank you. And the connection with the ways that finding freedom in our closets brings freedom to people around the world is in this human connection that you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes.
Because the fast fashion often is employing, I mean, you know more about this than me, but is employing people in labor factories that may have been trafficked or just have been trafficked there and not paid a living fair wage. And then we get to buy them for $5, or $1.99 or whatever. So that's your connection, right? As you're talking about in our everyday lives.
Yes.
That is amazing.
And to connect the dots.
Yeah.
That our closet and our way of dressing and shopping impacts people across the globe and sets them free, is that if we know how to really effectively use and enjoy and create outfits, and we're really using all of the things that we own and maximizing the potential, then we're more content with what we own. And if we're more content with what we own, then we buy less.
Right.
and we take our time and we choose well.
Right.
There's a quote out there, I think it's from Vivian Westwood: buy less, choose well. We shop with a plan, rather than impulse buying in a panic, because we don't know what else to do, because our closet is a mess and it's overflowing. And so we just go buy more, and then we perpetuate the cycle. And then we have an overflowing closet. And then we need Marie Kondo's process to come in and help us clear it out.
Right.
And then 2 years later, we find ourselves in the same place if we don't understand why we're creating that situation. And if we are more content with what we own, and we consume less, then that means that we're not consuming cheap things made quickly, that are enslaving people, and having negative environmental impacts. And so that's the ripple effect that starts to happen when we start to change how we consume and shop and what we think we need. And the end result of all of it is, this is what's so fantastic, is it's a win-win for everyone. So if I can walk into my closet, love everything I see, and you can do the same thing because you're very happy with your choices. You've selected items that bring you delight, fit well, serve a purpose in your life. You know where you're going to wear them. You know the style is really good for you, and you know the color creates the radiance that you really want to feel and put out there. If every item in your closet meets that criteria, and you learn how to develop that skill for yourself over time, then we don't run out in a panic like a chicken with our head cut off, wondering what we're going to wear to this thing on Friday or whatever the event is. And that's what creates the change for people across the world. And several years ago, there was the factory in Bangladesh that collapsed with all of the clothing workers in it. That's an example of fast fashion.
And Lisa, just to loop people in, so the 5 things you just talked about that you feel like you have when you walk in your closet, those are things that you look to do with people in the work of Stylish Sparrow. Can you make that connection too for us? Because I know we're going to wrap up here in a couple minutes. I want to make sure people really understand, if they don't have that feeling when they walk into their closet, how can you help, and how do you do it, and how do they connect with you?
Well, this morning is a perfect example. I worked with a woman who works 3 jobs. And she does really intense work with people. She's a chaplain in a hospital. She has another job working for people who are in trauma. She gets called 24 hours a day and has to get in her car and go, kind of like a journalist. So she keeps a go bag in her car. Sometimes she goes to sleep in her clothing in case she gets a call. And she got to the point where she's overwhelmed with what she has, and she was given free clothes from someone else, and she wanted to sift through that and see what she might make good use of before she donates it. So we spent our time this morning culling through everything she owns that she can wear for the next 6 months, with the climate and the season that we're in. And we only focused on that. We didn't focus on any of the winter stuff. So that if she had 6 pair of black pants and 6 pair of navy pants and 5 pair of tan and green pants, which she doesn't feel like she needs that many. And she wanted some guidance on what's the best of the best that I can keep from here. And let's make a list of which ones need to be replaced. So, and she does a lot of thrift store shopping. And so we made a list of what needs to be replaced and identified all the things that she can wear currently. And we did that with the tops and the pants. And then the last step, once we had everything culled out that really didn't serve her well, didn't follow the shape and form of her body in a flattering way. And I always bring a mirror so that clients can look and see for themselves in the mirror the difference between the things in their closet that really look fantastic and the other things that just aren't serving them well. instead of me just telling them what to do. There's a lot of education and coaching that goes into that I really, really, really enjoy. And when we were left with all of her favorite things, then we started mixing and matching and creating outfits.
Wow.
And that's my favorite part. And to see what's going to happen, because I don't know what's going to happen. It's kind of like making art together. And then it's really fun when the client gets into the process and says, well, what about if we put this with that? What do you think of that? Yes, let's do that. And then we take a photo of all the new outfits that we create. And most of them, all of them are things that people say, I would have never thought to put that together.
Wow.
And then they start to fall in love with what they own, and they realize they have what they need, and they feel fresh when they head out the door, and confident and beautiful, and they didn't have to go to the store.
Wow. That's awesome. And we have, for those of you that came on partway through, we have some links in the write-up that Lisa has a super cool promotion for those of you that are on the live or listening to the replay, where she'll give you $50 off your Stylish Sparrow Lisa Sharpe closet consultation. And then she has a really awesome, I'm on her list because I've been on her list forever, but I begged and pleaded. She put together an incredible resource. What do you call it? The Eco Chic
shopping guide.
Tongue twister. So the link is in there to sign up for her mailing list, which is awesome. Just really, really great stories and great tips, and just beautifully done. Just a fun nugget in your email box. Not a lot. What do? Like you send out one a week or so?
One a month.
One a month. And so if you sign up for that, she will send you for free this incredibly valuable PDF of what she has been learning on this journey. And she just put all this intellectual brilliance into a document to share with us. So we want
to mention it's full of links for people to click on so that you can see what's available, where you can ethically shop, look fashionable, have a variety of price points to meet your needs. And so that's part of that list as well, is practice
awesome.
Where to go to get great stuff that's good for the planet and people.
Awesome. Thank you. And we want to make sure because we're getting close to wrapping up, but before we do, we started our call with this invitation to lean in and really find your story, find what matters, what has always mattered, or maybe something that just got lit up and sparked in you when you heard Lisa's story, some dots that were connected, some new ways that you want to think different, act different, talk different, just in not in a burdensome way, but in a really life-giving, I'm so excited to try these new things on, or to recommit or commit for the first time to this way of being. We would love for you to comment and tell us what that might be for you, and to commit to share that kind of spark, that epiphany, with one live person when you're at dinner tonight, or going out for the evening, or sometime over the course of the weekend, just because we really believe that there's something that happens in the sharing and the witnessing of the things that are getting sparked in us on this treasure hunt journey of life. We also want to make sure that we put out there that we believe there's no accident if you landed in this live without a plan to be here, and that if you landed in this live and you're just in a place of challenge or struggle, Lisa and I very much believe in the power of community and the power of us really shoring up and supporting and fueling and propelling through companionship, through prayer, through just encouragement, the low, hard points in the journey. If that's you, please private message us and just tell us how we can be sending some love, some prayer, some good juju your way, because we get it. Life can be hard for all of us at some time. So Lisa, anything you want to add to that call to action piece?
Yes, I would say give yourself some grace. I have to do this for myself. Give myself some grace and give other people grace. And I stumble in this area. And I stumbled big time last month in a situation, in an interaction with someone, where I think we can get in the mindset of this is such a big change to make.
Yeah.
Where do I start?
Right.
We can turn it into this all or nothing thing. Either I make these different choices or I don't make them. I succeed in this area I want to change, or I fail in this area that I change. And we don't get anywhere when we get into that all or nothing place. Or we think, I can't do anything about human trafficking or change the planet, make it a better place. So it doesn't leave us with any motivation or empowerment to realize that we can. So starting small.
Thank you.
Where I am and where you are today is all we are called to do. We're not called to start all over or go save the world or beat ourselves up when we don't meet our own standard. And I'm speaking to myself as I'm saying this.
Right.
To all of you.
Right. That's awesome. Thank you for that. So whether what came to you is a step or a leap, we're celebrating because it is, I think life is so much more about really paying attention and taking the steps and having that be not just acceptable, but incredibly amazing. And really all, as you said, all we're called to do in that moment. So thank you for that nugget of grace. Okay, wow. Yeah, our time is up. Oh my gosh, it's time for dinner, happy hour, heading out for Good Friday services, if that's what you're bound for. Wherever it is that you are heading, my friend, whether you're watching us live or on the replay, our hearts are with you, and we want to end with this reminder that you are loved. You belong. We belong to each other. And please, let's find ways to stand tall and light up the world together. Thank you for being a part, Lisa. This has been so fun. I just totally, it was like a time warp. I looked at the clock 15 minutes ago. Boom. Thank you for all you're doing, for who you are, and for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you for having me here with you. It's been such a pleasure.
It's been awesome. All right, y'all. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye.